Hey guys, Blake the Book Eater here, and today I'm reviewing The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Now, this book was a very, very quick read, and I must say, it is probably one of my new favorite books. Definitely in the top 10. It was amazing. Neil Gaiman is such an amazing writer. I was sucked in and I could not leave this world that he created. This story, for those of you who don't know, well, I'm going to keep it very vague just because it's a very short book. It's only 180 pages. And so a lot happens, but also not a lot happens. So I don't want to accidentally give anything away. Basically, we have the way our story is framed is our narrator. He's unnamed. You never find out his name. It's first person throughout the entire thing. He goes back home to Sussex, England, and he's there for a funeral. We never find out who it is. And while he's back at his hometown for his funeral, he goes down to his old childhood friend's home and begins to remember his childhood way more vividly than he had thought it was. And I don't really want to say much more than that, other than it was magical and amazing. And I can't... This book was a masterpiece, really. It's like a modern fairy tale for adults. I mean, kids can read it, but if you really want to enjoy it, I think you do have to be a little older, just because it was just beautiful. It made me nostalgic for childhood I hadn't even had. It was... Oh my, I can't say enough about it. Grown-ups don't look like grown-ups on the inside either. Outside they're big and thoughtless, and they always know what they're doing. Inside they look just like they always have. Like they did when they were your age. Truth is, there aren't any grown-ups. Not one in the whole wide world. Adults follow paths. Children explore. Adults are content to walk the same way hundreds of times, or thousands. Perhaps it never occurs to adults to step off the paths, to creep beneath rhododendrons, to find the spaces beneath fences. Childhood memories are sometimes covered and obscured beneath the things that come later. Like childhood toys forgotten at the bottom of a crammed adult closet, but they are never lost for good. I liked myths. They weren't adult stories and they weren't children's stories. They were better than that. They just were. Adult stories never made sense, and they were slow to start. They made me feel like they were secrets, Masonic, mythic secrets to adulthood. Why didn't adults want to read about Narnia, about secret islands and smugglers and dangerous fairies? I mean, I could go on for days quoting this book, but, I mean, you just have to read it. It was beautiful, beautifully crafted, and it was insanely sad. Not in the sense that I cried or the events that happened were terribly sad. It was just the kind of... the sadness permeated the writing, and the fact that we all grow up. We all have a childhood that we're eventually going to lose. We lose that magic, and we become these people so accustomed to the rules of the world that we forget to just enjoy the magicalness of it. And this book really brought that feeling of just being a child back to me, and I just loved it, and it's definitely got a place in my heart forever. This book, if you haven't read it yet, go read it, because it is definitely worth your time. 5 out of 5 stars. I would give it a billion if I could. And I'm definitely going to be reading this again, because it was amazing. It was gorgeous. And go read it. What are you still doing here? Stop watching me. Go read the book. And if you want to stick around, I will talk a little about the spoilers about what actually happens in the book. But if you haven't read the book, then go read it, come back, and you can just gush about it with me if you want. And so, bye non-spoilers. So in this book, we have our main character, our narrator, and we don't know his name. We don't know his family's name. The only people whose names we know are people who are extraneous to the story, and even then, some of them are just identified by what they are, like the opal miner or some other people. But most of them are just kind of on the peripheral, other than the Hempstocks. We have Letty, then old Mrs. Hempstock, or Jenny, and old Mrs. Hempstock. And they're kind of our narrator's focal point, his safe place. He finds them after the opal miner kills himself in their dad's car, and it just becomes a place for him to escape the real world creeping in on him. And after him and Letty go and kind of defeat this creature thing in the Hempstock's fantastical farm, it follows our narrator back in his foot. And just the matter-of-fact way that our narrator dealt with the insane things in this novel just made me so happy. It was just the kind of willing belief of a child who takes the world as it is set out in front of him instead of questioning everything. But he does question some things. He doesn't just take everything in stride. But he doesn't question that there's magic, that there is such thing as fairy rings or manta wolves and stuff like that. And it was just amazing. This book, it just made me so happy and sad and just everything. The writing style, I mean, I've quoted it already, but just every paragraph seemed to have something new that added onto the story. So this story had so many layers, and even then I still felt like I needed more of it, and I need to go back and look at it again, just because I felt like I missed things, even though I was reading this book, closely and absorbing it. And the characters were amazing. I mean, even though we don't know his name, I felt like I knew that narrator. I felt like that narrator was me. I loved how he was so attached to his books, and that was his safe place. I loved his little quirks, like he had to have the door open at night, and he liked having the window open and having the rain come into the room and be on his face. And just, it was just amazing. And then when Ursula Monkton came, it was the kind of cliche evil nanny and fighting the kids, but it was menacing in a way that it transcended the cliche and just became unique to the story. Like, the nanny wasn't just, an evil adult. It was this thing, this unknown thing, a representation of the scariness of adults and growing up. And our narrator didn't know how to deal with that. And, I mean, you could take the story as, what it is and its fantastical elements, or you could take it as our narrator is basically using these fantastical elements to cover up a slightly traumatic childhood. And, I mean, doesn't matter which way you see it, I saw it as gorgeous and beautiful. Like, I mean, there were some things that were definitely dark, like with his dad cheating on his mom with Ursula, and also his dad trying to drown him in the bathtub, and his frightened escape through the night. That just felt so it felt so real to me, just because when you're a child you don't really know how to deal with things like that, so you just run away. And that's what our narrator did throughout the novel, and it felt like something an actual kid would do. And it was so great. And the ending, it really hit me. Not with when Letty died, I didn't cry or anything like that, but it just made me so sad and happy that our narrator had found somebody who cared so much for him, because he felt so alone throughout the entire novel. And then here was somebody who was giving up her life, or her chance at a life, so that he could live his. And then the end, when the hemp stalks, when it's the epilogue and he's going to the hemp stalks, and he's talking to old Mrs. Hempstock and Jenny, and he's talking about how Letty is watching him through the ocean and to make sure that he had lived a good life. That just, wow, that just made me think that am I living my life to be proud of? I mean, I didn't have somebody sacrifice their life for mine, but if that happened, if somebody gave up their life so that you could live yours, would you live it to the fullest? And he is troubled by that, and that's why he keeps coming back, and he doesn't remember, but he feels this connection to this person who's not even there anymore, who still cares for him. And that was just gorgeous. And my favorite quote of the novel that almost got me to tears was, well, I said, if she brought me here to look at me, let her look at me. And even as I said it, I knew it had already happened. How long had I been sitting on that bench, staring into the pond? As I had been remembering her, she had been examining me. Oh, she did already, didn't she? Yes, dear. And did I pass? The face of the old woman on my right was unreadable in the gathering dusk. On my left, the younger woman said, you don't pass or fail at being a person, dear. And that part just... Neil Gaiman, we know he's a good writer. He's written amazing books before. He's written Coraline. Tons of his credits are on everything. But I honestly feel like this is the best book he's ever written. It was gorgeous and it was true. It was personal, even though it was very fantastical and had magical elements. It felt true. It felt pure, and I loved it so much. And I don't know if you agree with me. If you don't, or if you do, please comment below. Let me know what you think. And I'm just gonna... I need more Neil Gaiman. I need this to be a movie. I need this to be something, because I need this story again. And I actually think probably the best way to do it, to be true to the story and the kind of crazy stuff that happened, is if they do like kind of an animated movie, like maybe in the style of Studio Ghibli or something like that, because I don't think if they do a live action movie it could do it justice. But I don't know, prove me wrong. I would love to see it in theaters very soon, and for more people to pick this up and just experience this amazingly just sad and beautiful story. So like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye. Hey guys, Blake the Book Eater here with another review. I can't speak! Goddamn jalapeno chips. They make your face red, and they make it so you can't talk, and I'm not even talking to anybody. What am I doing? Ugh. Videos are hard. Don't judge me. The woman said, you don't I messed it up!